Hello, hello, hello. Hello, hello, hello. I am prepping dinner, and I figured I would go ahead and go live with you all for a few moments while I am prepping dinner, so we can get both things done at the same time. So as you all are hopping in, hop in, say hi, let me know who you are, let me know where you are watching from. If this is your first time catching one of my live broadcasts, I am Mrs. Jones, and I am a systems and operations advisor to geniuses, visionaries, people who are magicians at what they do. And I support you by showing you how to make your operations super, super simple. Hey there, Nana. Help you make your operations super, super simple. Help you get your strategies, systems, SOPs in place so that you can create even more time freedom than what you have right now, because who couldn't use more time freedom, right? Hey, beautiful. So today I wanted to talk to you about pre-boarding, okay? Now, I'm going to be talking specifically about client pre-boarding, but this can also apply to employee pre-boarding, or if you're hiring contractors, contractor pre-boarding. It can apply to any of those. And I want to have a conversation about that because I feel like there's a lot of information about onboarding, there's a lot of information about delivering the experience, there's a lot of information about training, but everyone seems to forget the importance of pre-boarding, okay? So if you're not familiar with that term, what is pre-boarding? Pre-boarding is everything that happens before your client, or if you're talking about employees or contractors, before they enter into the space that you have already prepared. Y'all gotta excuse me, I'm working with some peppers, and I guess today they are really, really fresh. So yeah, it is everything that takes place before they enter the space that you have created for them. So what does this mean? This means that if you have a client portal for your clients, it's the preparation of that space. If there are documents that they need to complete before your session, it's the access and the preparation of those documents. So it is everything that they need to have in place in order to have a proper introduction into your world. Okay? Now, the thing with pre-boarding, the pre-boarding process, is that this is going to be different for each person, right? So if I were to do a video on how to create the pre-boarding process, it may or may not even serve you, because the way that you choose to introduce them, the way that you choose to prepare your people for the space that you have already created for them is going to be based on a lot of different factors. It's going to be based on what you value. It's going to be based on the experience that you desire for them to have. It's going to be based on the type of product or service this person is going to be receiving from you. Or if you're talking about employees and contractors, it's about the position that they're coming in, the role that they're going to be playing with your company. And so that process is going to look different for everyone. However, one thing that is constant is the necessity. Let me show you all something real quick so you can see what it is that you're doing. So to start, I got 2 different pans with peppers. I'm making a chicken, I think it's called a chicken verde sofita. foil verde, something like that. So that'll give you an idea of what it is you're looking at. Okay, so back to what I was saying. So yes, the system itself is going to look different for every person. What is constant though is that it is a part of your process that you need to be really intentional about. And you need to have a clear, concise, intentional methodology, intentional system for introducing people to your world, for preparing them to enter the space that you have created for them. Okay? If you want specifics on, how to build a pre-boarding process, what that looks like specifically for your business, for your company, what you want to do is you want to hit the link in my bio and schedule a clarity session, and we can have some conversation around that. But what I want to do today is give you two major reasons why you really want to pay attention to your pre-boarding process. Two major reasons why you need to strategically map out a clear and concise, intentional pre-boarding process. Okay? So, reason number one, your pre-boarding process sets them up for success before you ever begin. So if you offer a service, then that pre-boarding process is going to set you up for a successful client interaction before you have your first call. If you are creating pre-boarding for employees or contractors, that pre-boarding is going to set them up for success before they even enter your onboarding process. Understand that there's a lot of talk right now about client onboarding this, employee onboarding, and that's extremely important. We're going to have a conversation about onboarding tomorrow, okay? But what you must understand is that the success of your onboarding relies heavily on the success of your pre-boarding. Give me a minute. Let me grab a bowl. Relies heavily on the success of your pre-boarding. Why? Because in the pre-boarding stage, you are actually setting 3 expectations. Okay? What can I expect from you? What can you expect from me? And a reiteration of what we can expect from each other. Okay? What is expected of me, right? What's expected of you, and a reiteration of what we can expect from each other. Okay? What does this mean? This means that if you offer services, your pre-boarding is where your clients get a clear and concise picture of exactly what your program or your service or your product will and will not do for them. Okay? You will be surprised how many people, believe it or not, yeah, these peppers are fresh. You'll be surprised, believe it or not, how many people, most people buy on impulse, right? Because most people buy what they want, not necessarily what they need, right? Which is amazing, right? Because once you can understand that concept, you can hone in on your marketing and, all of those beautiful things, you can start to increase the number of sales that you're getting. That is amazing. What you may not realize is how many people will purchase a product or a service without having a clear idea of what that product or service is actually going to do for them. Is actually going to do for them. This happens a lot with social media managers, okay? A lot of people are confused about the difference between a social media manager and a social media strategist, right? So oftentimes they will hire a social media manager. Now that manager may be a strategist, but the reality is social media management does not necessarily include strategy, okay? not all social media managers are also social media strategists, okay? And not all social media strategists are going to come in and manage your social media after you have met with them for your strategy, right? So I just use social media marketing as an example because that's one of the easiest places where you can see that, right? So oftentimes people will be really, really excited about a product, a service, a program. Even if you're talking about hiring employees and contractors, they'll be super, super, super excited about working for the company, super, super, super excited about having that position. But still, and they will apply and go through the entire process and still not have a real clear understanding of exactly what it is that they're applying for, okay? And what you don't want as a service provider is for someone to sign up for one of your products, to sign up for one of your services, and then you come in and you start having your sessions, and their idea of what your company was supposed to do for their company is completely different from what it is that you actually offer. That's an extremely awkward conversation. I have had to have that conversation before and understand that things that I share with you from experience, right? These are not just things that I looked up on Google, that I read books about. These are things that I have actually experienced, right? So in the pre-boarding stage, okay, you are setting the expectation. It is making sure that they have a very clear understanding of what your product or your service is. If you're talking about employees or contractors, having a very clear understanding of what the role is that they're going to be playing in your company. You understand what you can expect from me. I understand what I can expect from you. We are reiterating what it is that we can expect from each other. You understand what it is that I'm delivering. I'm confident that you understand that you understand what it is that I'm delivering. And now when we get on to that first call, we don't have to spend the first 30 minutes clearing up any misunderstandings or clearing up any misconceptions about what it is that we're supposed to be doing. Okay? So when you do that, the other beautiful part of that is that once you set those expectations, what you do is you actually start the momentum moving in the direction that you wanted to move in, right? My mom used to say something when I was younger. She used to say, there is nothing better. Yeah, I am going through it today with this tripod. She used to say that there is nothing better than having an understanding. And that was, that is probably one of the most beautiful lessons that my mother has ever taught me, because I take that into every aspect of my life, not just in the way that we run our company, but in every aspect of my life. There's nothing better than having an understanding. And so once everyone has an understanding of what is supposed to happen, what's going to be happening, then from there you can really focus on setting those expectations, really focus on building the momentum in the positive direction that you want to go in, right? Because now we're not focusing on any misunderstandings. We're focusing on all of the excitement. We're focusing on all of the greatness. We're focusing on the end goal. We're focusing on what it is that you're going to get when we get to the end of whatever it is that we're going to be doing together, right? So that's the first reason, okay? It's because it helps set your clients up for success. And again, if it's employees or contractors, it helps set them up for success at the very beginning, okay? The second reason that I want to give you for this is this. When you have a proper pre-boarding process, that means that from the very first call, you are having much more meaningful interactions with your client, because it's saving you time. You're not having to repeat things that are already on your website, okay? Now, this is extremely important if you work on an hourly basis, or if you take on clients that have pretty big projects, okay? When you work on an hourly basis, yes, it is very clear that they are paying you by the hour, okay? It's so much dollars, you know, how many ever dollars per hour, or pounds, or naira, or whatever your currency is. So how much per hour, or if it's sort of like a retainer where you say, okay, you pay X number of dollars per month and you get this number of hours towards whatever it is that we're working on together. While it's very clear, you know, if your pre-boarding process is on point, that they are paying for an hourly service, you don't want to be that person where the first 2 or 3 meetings that you're having with your client are spent reiterating, this is what you can expect from me. This is what I can expect from you. This is what the program really is. This is what our deadlines are going to look like. This is it, because what happens is it takes so much longer for you to get to the point where you are actually getting the work done, okay? And when you are working with clients who have projects, okay, those projects have deadlines. And while you may be awesome, you may be an awesome person to talk to and all of this wonderful kind of stuff, they are paying you to get the job done, okay? And so the more time you can spend actually doing the work, okay, actually getting the job done. So for example, if you are a coach, you want to spend 100% of your time coaching towards whatever their goal is that they hired you for. If you are a consultant, you want to spend 100% of your time consulting and strategizing for whatever it is that they hired you to consult and strategize for. If you're bringing on employees or contractors, you want to spend 100% of that time when they first come in after that onboarding process, which we'll talk about tomorrow. You want them to spend 100% of that time in training, okay? Getting trained, doing projects, doing the things that they need to do so that you are confident that they can do the job without you having to stand on top of them and micromanage them. Does that make sense? So when your first call is all about, oh, well, you know, this is just an introductory call and we're just going to kind of go over the things. No. I don't want to go over the things again with you, right? That's what my pre-boarding process is for. When we get on our first call, so for example, if you hire me for a strategy session to strategize, you know, one of your projects or one of your systems, right? Or if you hire me for a systems audit, you want me to take a look at the systems in your business, you know, to see, you know, where they can be improved and take a look at your tools and all of those different kinds of things. Then when we get on that first call, I want to get right into, let's talk about your systems. This is what I researched. This is what I found. Or if we're strategizing, okay, boom, this is the project. Let's start talking about milestones. When do you want this project to be done? What kind of tools do you want to use? On that first call, I want to get right into the business of solving the problem that you hired me for. Okay? I want to get right into the business of solving the problem that you hired me for. Even if you sign a 1 year, we're going to be working together for a year. That's fine. I'm not going to say, okay, well, we're working together for a year, so we're going to have plenty of calls to go over so I can waste this one call. Because let me go ahead and say something, and this is going to be anti what a lot of coaches will tell you. If you are spending that first call going over the things that are already on your website and going over the things that are already in the contract that they have already signed, and you're spending that first call rehashing all of that, you are wasting your client's time. You are wasting your client's time. The absolute worst thing, I know for me, one of the things that I absolutely hate is a meeting that could have been an email. Okay? And if you're looking at this from the perspective of hiring employees or hiring contractors, understand this. When you bring your employees or your contractors on, and that first day, those first 2 days are spent reiterating all of the stuff that they already read when they read their contract and they read their employment agreement, and you're going over it again, it is an absolute waste of their time. And what you are doing is you are hurting your chances of long-term retention on that contractor or on that employee when you waste their time. I said it. Not popular, but it is true. You're wasting time. So when you have a proper onboarding, proper pre-boarding procedure, let me show you all these peppers really quickly. So this is what I'm looking for. So I'm actually looking for them to actually get a bit darker on both ends of the pepper. So, you're roasting them. I don't actually have a grill, so I'm just using 2 pans. And you're getting them dark on both sides. That's how I start my soup. It actually cuts some of the time. How you do one thing is how you do everything. How you do one thing is how you do everything. How you do one thing is how you do everything. Believe it or not, I have a very solid, clear, and concise system for how I make this soup. And the recipe that I use is very intentional because it does save time and it still gives us that great, amazing flavor. So I'm able to save time as well as create the experience, the dining experience that I want to create for my family. See, how you do one thing is how you do everything. Okay, so you want to get right. You want to get right to the point. You want to get right to business, and having a clean, clear pre-boarding process helps you to get right to business. And trust me, if you don't think your clients are paying attention, they're paying attention. If you don't think they're paying attention, they're paying attention. They're just not saying anything to you. If you're hiring employees or contractors, if you don't think your employees or your contractors are paying attention to the fact that the first 2 or 3 meetings are spent doing things that could have been done via email, trust me, they're not saying anything to you, but they are taking note of that. Okay? So you really have to be intentional about the kind of experience that you desire to have and the kind of experience that you desire to deliver. So for example, for me, I thrive when I can get straight to work. Okay? That is when I can do my best of my best of my best of my best work for my clients. When we can get all of the other things out of the way and we can get straight to work, I thrive on that, right? I am very good at saying, okay, this is your problem. Here's the strategy to get to the solution to your problem. Boom, let's go. Like that is how I roll. I don't do a lot of pontificating. I don't do a lot of any of that. It's like, okay, this is your problem. This is the solution. This is how we're going to get from problem to solution. Boom, let's go. Okay. And that's the experience that I desire for my clients to have. And so because I am clear on that, this desire for my clients to have that experience, my pre-boarding is actually a part of my sales process. That's a completely different conversation. We'll have that conversation on another day. But I say that to say that I have created my pre-boarding experience so that it flows directly into the onboarding experience that I desire for my clients to have, so that once they get on that first phone call with me, we can get straight to work. All right? So those are the 2 reasons why, if you don't have a clear and concise intentional pre-boarding process, you want to go ahead and get that in place. So here's what I'm going to say to you. If you have any questions, specific questions as it relates to running your company or creating your pre-boarding process, then what I want you to do is I want you to click the link in my bio and sign up for a clarity session with me. That's the session that you want to sign up for if you want to talk about what that could look like for your particular company. Okay? Now, if you aren't sure about any of this and you're like, listen, I hear you, it makes sense, but it kind of doesn't make sense. Or if you're like, yeah, okay, I know I need to do pre-boarding, but I also know that there's a bunch of other things that that I need to do in my company in terms of streamlining my systems, documenting my processes, making my operations super simple, and I'm not really sure where to start, then you want to click the link in my bio and go ahead and sign up for a discovery call. So those are the two options for you. FYI, I have coming up for the month of August, I have 6 clarity calls available. 6 clarity calls. I have 6 clarity calls available for the month of August, and I have 2 systems audits for the month of August. Only 2. Okay. Now, what is a systems audit? So a systems audit is this. If you say, okay, listen, Atandra, or listen, Mrs. Jones, I've got my pre-boarding process, or I think I have a pre-boarding process, but there are some things that are missing. If you are still having to repeat yourself on the first day of your calls, on the first day of work, if it's with your employees or your contractors, if you are not spending that very first interaction getting straight to work, you're still spending that first interaction going over the contract, going over the things that you already knew, making sure that both of you have the expectation set, and it's not clear, it's not streamlined, you're not able to get right to work, then what you want to do is you want to schedule a system audit. What that means is I'm going to take a look at the system that you currently have in place. I'm going to look at the process. I'm going to look at the steps. I'm going to look at the tools that you're using, and I'm going to take that and I'm going to put that up against the experience that you say that you desire to deliver. And where there are any inconsistencies, where there are unnecessary redundancies, where you have dependencies that are not being met in order for you to be able to complete and deliver that experience, I'm going to outline them for you, and I'm going to give you what is called a system for your company plan, which basically is going to say, this is the system that you currently have for this process. This is where you need to adjust, and this is exactly how you're going to change that system. Okay, so if that's what you want to click the link in my bio and sign up for a system audit. So again, I have 6 clarity calls coming up for the month of August, and I have two system audits coming up in the month of August. So once those are booked, I don't open any additional spaces. Once they're booked, they're booked. So if you want to jump on my calendar, make sure that you do that. Okay. Hope this was helpful. Drop your questions down in the comments, and I will talk to you all tomorrow. Bye.